The Arizona Wildcats lose this game to the UCLA Bruins. The final score, Arizona Wildcats 71 to the UCLA Bruins 75. Right off the bat, I just didn't see a fire, too much fire in Nick Johnson from the Arizona Wildcats body language, and I think that lack of energy dissipated onto the rest of the team. Even though Nick Johnson scored 22 points tonight, he was the highest scorer of the team. It just didn't. I just thought that it was not going to. It was not going to. The Arizona Wildcats were not going to win this game. I didn't think, and that's because Nick Johnson's he just wasn't feeling today, and he just didn't look like he was in very good mood today. Whenever the UCLA Bruins were playing the Arizona Wildcats, and I think that the UCLA Bruins wanted this game a little bit more, and it meant a little bit more to them as far as because tomorrow is Selection Sunday, and how UCLA does in the brackets, who they get selected to play against, and how close they, how far they will have to travel to go somewhere. The Arizona Wildcats are seeded number one, and so they are probably going to be seeded number one, so they should be able to stay very close to home, probably in California, to play the first couple games. But we'll see how it all plays out in Selection Sunday. Gabe York was knocking down a bunch of three-pointers right in the beginning. He had 3 for 3 from three-point land right in the beginning, and then he started to, then he didn't make any more three-pointers after that. He had 7 three-pointers attempts, but he only made those first 3, and that was understandable. And Gabe York from the Arizona Wildcats, that was understandable because here's how it goes: is usually a team might be hot in the beginning and in the first half, but then in the second half, then they aren't doing too well. Then they usually can't shoot so good. But I think it was at the last, or U of A hadn't scored in 8 minutes, and I don't think the UCLA Bruins had scored in 10 minutes, so it was like nobody wanted to give up any points in the end because it was a 68-68 tie for a long time. But finally the UCLA Bruins got over that hurdle, stepped over that hurdle, and they were able to pull out the victory. Let's see, it was Jordan Adams that knocked down a three-pointer, I think, in the final seconds, and Nick Johnson was able to respond and answer that with a three-pointer with 0.4 seconds left in the game, or no, 0.4 seconds left in the game, but it wasn't, or 4 seconds left in the game, but there wasn't enough time, and it didn't matter because the UCLA Bruins had a guy that knocked down both of his free throws, and that was pretty much it. Powell, I think it was the guy that knocked down both of his free throws right at the end, and so that pretty much knocked it out of chance. I mean, even if the U of A would have made a three-pointer, then it still would have been 74-75, so they still would have lost. But I was looking at the amount of assists, and I saw some really great things with T.J. McConnell had 6 assists. Aaron Gordon had 8 assists. I'm looking at the ESPN stats here, so the Yahoo Sports stats or the Sporting News stats or the the men's basketball Arizona Wildcats stats might be different. But anyway, those are the stats that I'm looking at. So I saw quite a few assists, and that made me happy that T.J. McConnell had so many assists. It would have been better if he would have scored more points. If T.J. McConnell would have scored a little bit more points. He had 6. T.J. McConnell from the Arizona Wildcats had 6 points and 6 assists. But I think the dribble penetration, I think that was a huge factor in the beginning in this game. The U of A just wasn't dribble penetrating as much as they should have, and they were trying to live by the three-pointers, and they did for the most part. They made 9 out of 22 from three-point land, so they had 40%, which is compared to the UCLA Bruins, which only had 4 three-pointers. If you look at the stats for the Arizona Wildcats, the Arizona Wildcats almost win every single stat. The field goals made, the three-pointers made, the offensive rebounds they tied, and the defensive rebounds they lost by 1 defense, or the UCLA Bruins out-rebounded the Arizona Wildcats 37-35. But if you look at the assists, they were equal, 16 assists for both teams. The Arizona Wildcats had 7 steals, and the UCLA Bruins had 4. The blocks, they were both equal. UCLA had 3, Arizona had 3. Turnovers, the Arizona only had 7 turnovers. But it was nasty because right in the beginning, then the Arizona Wildcats had 3 turnovers just right off the bat, and the UCLA Bruins didn't have any turnovers. So there was a long period where the UCLA Bruins didn't have any turnovers, and so that was a big advantage on their part. As far as the fouls, then we had Aaron Gordon with 4 fouls, and we had Nick Johnson with 4 fouls, but for most of the game, I would say the Wildcats weren't really in foul trouble. I got kind of nervous whenever T.J. McConnell from the Arizona Wildcats had 3 fouls, picked up that 3rd foul at the beginning of the second half, but I wasn't so worried about that. I really wish that T.J. McConnell would have scored more points, even though he did have a lot of assists, so that was great. And Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, I was really hoping that he would get at least 1 assist in there, but he didn't get any assists, and so I think that was one of the backbreakers for the Arizona Wildcats is whenever Rondae Hollis-Jefferson doesn't get at least 1 assist in there, then it doesn't bode very good for the Arizona Wildcats. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson had 1 steal. Let's see if there was anybody that Aaron Gordon had 2 steals, T.J. McConnell had 2 steals. Those were really helpful. Nick Johnson had 4 blocks, so he was the Energizer Bunny. He blocked quite a bit of shots, and Norman Powell from the UCLA Bruins had 2 blocks, so he was a threat in there. Travis Ware, the one that fouled out for the UCLA Bruins, he had 1 block, so he was also a threat. It was nice to see Elliot Pitts, which is a second stringer from the Arizona Wildcats, knock down a 3-pointer. He did. He made 1 out of 2 from 3-point land. He didn't have any personal fouls, so that was good. Gabe York had 2 personal fouls, but Gabe York was pretty hot in the beginning, but then he cooled off quite a bit as the game went on. Like I said, I just think that one of the reasons why the Arizona Wildcats were not able to pull out this victory is because body language. I think Nick Johnson, which is somewhat of the leader of the team, his body language wasn't very strong, and he wasn't very energetic, and so I kind of put the blame of this game, the loss of this game, on Nick Johnson's shoulders, because he just didn't seem very energetic about this game. Kyle Anderson from the UCLA Bruins stepped up, and Jordan Adams stepped up also. Kyle Anderson from the UCLA Bruins had 21, and Jordan Adams had 19. So there was a couple guys from UCLA Bruins that made their mark, and they were the ones that really helped the UCLA Bruins. Just the free throws were were one of the biggest things one of the biggest killers. And if if we're talking about the body language, then I think after a while it can start to show. I think it starts to show in the free throws made, and the Arizona Wildcats only shot 37% from free throw land, and the UCLA Bruins shot 84% from free throw land, and that was a deciding factor. That was one of the major deciding factors. I mean, the rebounds were, the UCLA Bruins beat us by 1, and the rebounds, and that wasn't as much of a deal breaker. But I think that the free throws if you could really say anything, I think it was the free throws that just really, killed the Wildcats. If they would have made 75% of their free throws, then that would have been 6 more points. So the U of A Wildcats would have won this game by they would have won it 77-75. But they just that's one of the biggest problems with the U of A Arizona Wildcats is the free throws, and it really showed up right here against the UCLA Bruins. So from what I heard, is Aaron Gordon from the Arizona Wildcats, he shoots 80% or something like that from free throw land. But then whenever it comes game time, today he only made 2 out of 8 free throws. So that's at 6 points. That's what I was just talking about. And that's if Aaron Gordon would have made 80%, so as I say, 75% of his free throws, then we would have tied this game up. It would have been 75-75. But I don't want to put a lot of, I don't want to say bad things about Aaron Gordon, because there was a lot of other things that he did really good. I mean, he was one of the top rebounders. There was 2 people that got the most rebounds, and they got 8. Both of them got 8 rebounds. Aaron Gordon had 8 rebounds, and Rondé Hollis-Jefferson had 8 rebounds. As far as the most rebounds, Kyle Anderson had 15 defensive rebounds. That's amazing. That's really something. He was the one. Kyle Anderson was the one that made so many rebounds for the UCLA Bruins, and so if we would have been able to shut down Kyle Anderson, then we would have been able to stop this game. And I kind of, like I said, I kind of put that blame a little bit on Nick Johnson from the Arizona Wildcats for not succeeding at shutting down Kyle Johnson, and he kind of went off a little bit. He made 5 out of 12 from field goal land, field goal, and Nick Johnson made 9 out of 20 field goals. So not too bad, But like I said, it was just the free throws. I think that's the biggest marker of why one of the biggest markers of why the Arizona Wildcats lost this game was free throws, and another thing that was really bad was just the energy wasn't there for the Arizona Wildcats, and that's why I think that's one of the reasons why they lost this game. And hopefully the Arizona Wildcats will have a whole lot of energy and that fire and that enthusiasm whenever they play the first round of the big dance next week. So, because I don't think that the Arizona Wildcats want to go out want to leave the building on a down scale like this. So if they lose the first round, which Arizona Wildcats do quite often, just lose the first round, they've lost the first round in quite a few of the seasons, then it would not be a very good season. So hopefully the Arizona Wildcats will be rejuvenated and ready to go whenever they start playing in the big dance. Final score: Arizona Wildcats 71 to the UCLA Bruins 75.